Good evening, everybody. Welcome to round 2 of our 1991 F1 series, coming to you from Interlagos in Brazil. I am Jason White. I will be your play-by-play announcer for this race. Cars are just now starting their warm-up session. And let me run down the top 10 from qualifying as time expired for you. On the pole for this race will be Ray Radal with a time of 1 minute 14.375. In second place, only half a second back, will be Richard Coxon. Third, David Saber. Fourth, Anders Nilsson. Fifth, Robin DeVos. Sixth, Jules Bouchard. Seventh, Richard Wilkes. Eighth, John Team. Ninth, Ruben Fernandez. And 10th, Grant Radal. That is the top 10 for the grid this evening. So here we are at Interlagos, a purpose-built circuit that is located in Sao Paulo, Brazil. The Brazilian Grand Prix was held here first in 1972, but this was at a very different layout, much longer, and it wasn't part of the World Championship at that time. So, excluding 1978, the World Championship events for the Brazilian Grand Prix were contested here from 1973 to 1980, at which point the race moved to the I always have a hard time with this name, the Jacarepaguá circuit, which was in Rio de Janeiro. In 1990, the race moved back to Interlagos with the layout that you see here, a little bit of a shorter layout. And this circuit is a really interesting one. It features a lot of elevation change, high-speed sections, and a variety of corners, changing radius corners. So it should produce an excellent race today for our 1991 F1 championship. It's definitely going to be a little bit of something for everybody, and it'll be interesting to see how our drivers cope with the Interlagos circuit. This is the last race on the American continent. Next time out, we're going to be in San Marino on the European continent. So let's take a look at the point standings going into today's race. It's relatively simple because there's only been one race run. For the driver's points, Anders Nilsson is in the lead with 10 points on the strength of his win at the United States Grand Prix. Second is Giovanni Centorami. Third, Ray Radal. Fourth, Juha Boss. Fifth, Luciano Rocha. And sixth, John Team. And you can see there, it's just basically the point spread, 10, 6, 4, 3, 2, 1. Which is the way that they are assessed first through sixth. In the constructor standings, pretty much the same situation because there was only one car represented from each team in the top six. Team 7-Up Jordan has the 10 points. Scuderia Italia, also known as Dallara, is second with 6 points. Cannon Williams Honda team is in third with 4 points. Fourth is Campbell Benetton Ford with 3 points. Fifth is Scuderia Ferrari with 2 points. And Leighton House Racing rounds out the 6 cars having scored points with 1. So why don't we go out to the track now, and we'll take a look at the circuit from the driver's point of view. We'll see if I can find a driver who has not started a lap yet. Well, here's David Saber. He's kind of in the middle of ending his lap, and David had an excellent qualifying session, so why don't we take a look at the track from his point of view. As he comes around, he's going in an uphill section here. Yes, now he is heading towards the start-finish area. This will be one lap with David Saber of Interlagos as he heads down the front straightaway, and now he's going to head into the left-hander Senna S. I believe that name was given to it after he passed away. Now heading back to the right, now into the Curva do Sol, heading down what I would guess would be called a back straightaway, but it's the Reta Oposta. And now there are two very, very fast left-handers in progression here. This one, and then the following one. You have to be careful not to get out onto the rumble strip too much. Heading back uphill now. You have a couple of right-handers coming up. One that's a little faster, and the next one's a little bit slower. Downshifting here to second gear. Now heading back to the right, and back to the left again. There's a series of kind of back and forth turns here, and then once we get past this right-hander, we head downhill for a second, but then rapidly uphill again. So elevation change is definitely a part of this circuit's character, and we'll be watching that all day as Saber heads into turn 12, now into turn 13, and you'll notice the speed builds gradually as he heads through this fast left-hander. And now on to the main straight, and that is one lap of Interlagos with David Saber. No doubt that Ferrari V12 power was part of the reason that he qualified so well. He was actually P2 at certain points during the race, and remember, this is the older Ferrari. There's a newer one yet to come for him. Let's see if we can get somebody else here driving the circuit. Here's Bouchard. This ought to be good. Driving this Jordan. See if his technique differs any from David Saber's. And I believe Alberto is in the booth with me. I can't hear him quite yet, but we'll let him sort out his...
Yeah.
Oh, there you are. Okay,
good evening, everybody.
Good.
Yeah,
good.
Didn't want to interrupt you during the lap.
All right, well, we're watching Jules here as he heads down what I guess you would call the back straightaway here at Interlagos. And now that he's two left-handers that go up the hill, there's a lot of elevation change here, Alberto.
It certainly is, yes. It's a beautiful track, and I think that's one of the things that is a hallmark of the circuits that were created long time ago. They were done wherever they could, so you got many elevation changes, unlike many of the flat circuits that we get nowadays.
Yeah, the whatever the guy's name is, Herman Tinkle, or TK. Sorry. Oh, I'm sure that was an accident saying that. Freudian slip. But they're all very flat and have very staged corners that are designed to, basically create overtaking opportunities in very obvious ways. But this circuit, as we mentioned earlier, goes all the way back to 1972, at least with its involvement with F1. It was a different layout then. But other than Jacarepaguá, this has been the home of the Brazilian Grand Prix.
Yeah, and deservedly so, because it's a beautiful track. I absolutely love Interlagos. I don't think there's anybody out there that doesn't really like this track.
No, I think it's a fun track.
That's the odd turn that you might somehow hate, because some of them are really very technical and complicated, but that's the challenge. I mean,
exactly.
That's so much legend, so much history in these turns here that you gotta love it.
Yeah, I don't really see any way you couldn't. It's just it's a really fun challenge, especially in these cars, pushing them to the absolute limit. And you'll see a lot of our drivers doing that throughout the race as Bouchard tries to get around Nicholas Kirsten. Nothing doing there. Nicholas is practicing, obviously, on full tanks as everybody else is. They're trying to get a feel for how the car is going to be, which is very different from what it is in qualifying, where you're running all the snow fuel and qualifying tires.
And very much as you were saying, this is not a track like the modern ones designed with overtaking in mind. And here we can see what's happening when you get to one of the slower cars in this section. You really suffer a lot to go past. Now, here is the quickest section where it should be possible, but unfortunately, Bouchard missed his opportunity here due to a misunderstanding with Kirsten. And, well, there you go. This is the other opportunity, the obvious one. I think we will be seeing a lot of action here in this turn. over the race.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite complicated if you're in the twisty section.
Absolutely. As far as the notes for this race, Coxon provided some notes on things to look for. There are no car updates at all, by the way. The cars are exactly the same as they were at Phoenix, so no new car updates to talk about. There are going to be some new car introductions at the San Marino Grand Prix in 2 weeks. Or actually a little more than 2 weeks, probably 3. We'll get to that in a minute. So there we'll see some new 1991 cars, most notably probably from Benetton. As far as tires, mediums, and hards are the order of the day. Pit stops, anything up to 2. In the real race, most of the Pirelli runners pitted twice. Goodyear runners pitted once, bar Prost, who ran an alternate strategy and pitted twice. The temps will play a key role, again like in Phoenix, and the air temperature, if it's over 27 degrees Celsius, things will get much harder for the engines and the tires, especially the Pirellis. So we might see Pirelli runners suffer here in the heat in Brazil, but we'll see what happens. Sometimes these predictions aren't what we think they don't come out the way we think they're going to come out.
It all depends on the ambient temperature. Coxon insisted that anything above 27 degrees and the Pirellis will be suffering a lot. But very much about what you were pointing out regarding the cars. Yeah, remember this is Formula One in the early 90s, so they came to Phoenix, then they went down south to Brazil. That was the American stint. And they were not going to ship a new car for this. This is not like modern Formula One when they are joking between continents all the time. So
yeah, they a lot of times teams waited until they got to the European continent for their introduction of their new car, and a lot of teams would just run the previous year's model for the first couple of races. That tradition actually goes way back into the 70s, where
and it makes sense because it's so much money to ship a car overseas just for one race, especially if it's not yet completely developed.
Yeah, you might need to run back to the headquarters to get some parts, and it's a lot easier to do that if you're not that far away and if you're on the European continent, so it makes more sense to do it then.
Yeah, I mean, in the 90s, this was basically a European-based series, barring some outings.
Okay, qualifying report. I watched qualifying from start to finish, and there was the usual back and forth that went on. Early on, 3 different drivers held the pole in the span of about 5 minutes. Bouchard, Coxon, and Radal. Coxon then asserted himself with about 51 minutes to go in his Tyrrell and put his car in P2. Nielsen was able to manage P3. And then suddenly Saber asserted himself in the Ferrari with a 1:15.269, which was pretty impressive. Then there was a bit of a lull, and that happens, when the cars come back in and get new tires and more fuel. Wiltz put his car in the board, his Tyrrell, with a 1:15.482. Grant Radal did not have the greatest qualifying session today. He tried really hard to get up into the top 10, but it just did not happen. He ran out of laps with about 41 minutes to go, so he pretty much expended his amount of laps very quickly. But the one guy who really wowed everybody early on was Ray Radal, because with only 3 laps complete, he was able to put his Williams on the pole with a 1:14.706, and he stayed there for the bulk of the qualifying session. He eventually did capture the pole for this race, but he was staying in the garage a lot of the time while people were trying to better his time. Some people came very close, but they just couldn't quite get there. With about 28 minutes to go, Saber went to P2 with a 1:14.951 and then was immediately eclipsed by Coxon with a 1:14.885. And then Radal casually goes out on the track and sets a 1:14.375, which became his pole position time. He was unhurried, unworried, and he really, really likes this Williams Renault. It's really obvious. And then there are a few people who were able to advance towards the end of the session. Robin DeVos to P5 and then finally to P4 in his Dallara with a 1:15.278. And then Nielsen was able to eclipse that in his Jordan with a 1:15.228. But the big story was how casually Ray Radal was able to take the pole for this race. It just seemed effortless. And a lot of that could probably be laid at the feet of this Adrian Newey. Or no, wait, this isn't an Adrian Newey design, is it? It's Patrick Head. Newey was still at, or was Newey still at Leighton House at the time? I can't remember.
Yeah, well, whatever the case, I mean, we are already on a power track,
Yeah.
as we like to call them. So the engine power and the grip is so important here because you have those long corners on the main quick section that you need all the power and all the downforce. And even if you can do, thanks to driving and chassis, some catching up in the twisty section, there's absolutely nothing that you can do against a car that is superior in terms of downforce and power.
Yeah. All right, well, all we have a minute here. Let's tell you about what's coming up at ISO. Next week, we are running at Thruxton, the BBC Top Gear Magazine Race Day for the British Touring Car Championship of 1996, which is the third round out of 13, Sunday, February 25th. First race will start at 2000 CET. And then I believe we have a Lucas Vider Trophy race in between this race and the next F1 race, which would account for the much later date on this race. The San Marino Grand Prix from the classic Imola circuit, round 3 of 16, Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day here in the States. Green light at 2000 CET for that race. Trivia question for you to ponder before we start this race. And this is one of those ones where Alberto's going to go, oh, come on. But the question is, which of the following drivers finished first in the pre-qualifying session for the 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix? Was it A, J.J. Leto, B, Eric Van der Poel, or C, Bertrand Gachot? We'll have the answer for you.
Oh, come on.
We'll have that answer for you later. I know it's like a dart. Throw a dart, see what you get. All right, so predictions for this race. Judging by Radal's performance here, I mean, it's hard to not pick him for the win. Last time the winner was Nielsen, and he is starting a little further down the list. He's starting actually fourth. But what are your predictions, Alberto?
I think it's a Ridal who is going to win the race.
Well, Mayor.
No, but I mean, like you said, it's hard to bet against right here because he got everything. I mean, the pace, the talent, the car, anything. But should he have some kind of issues, we all know in Formula One anything can and usually does happen, then I think Grant would be a sensible choice.
Well, it's the elder Radal this time that has the upper hand, which is interesting. Yep. And it proves that Ray is extremely quick. I mean, last year in the 86 F1 series, he proved that he was very fast from time to time in the McLaren. Now he's driving the Williams FW14 in 91 series, but
yeah, but the car last year was a bit deceiving because the fact that McLaren was a winning car was not because it was the quickest, it wasn't, but it was the best on field management and overall race performance.
Yeah.
If you are talking about blistering pace, then it was the Lotus maybe, also the Williams and that, but this time Rai is sitting in a car that is really blisteringly quick, and that's how we have the pole.
Yeah.
So I think his performance from last year, you cannot judge in terms of raw speed, because the car wasn't the absolute edge when it came to snatching up poles.
Well, about a minute 17 here to go before they line up for this race. Is going to be, let me go back and look at the map. I forget how long the race is supposed to be. It is 71 laps of this 4.3225 kilometer permanent road circuit.
Yeah, and I can see already Rai doing some practice starts there in the track, slower speeds. So he really seems to be very, very interested in getting away cleanly and nicely.
Yep. There's also been some discussion about the track itself. There are certain areas where you can run really, really wide, and the ISO stewards are going to be looking very closely at that, making sure that people behave and keep their car on the track, even though there's centrifugal force that forces it out wider than the actual track itself. So hopefully we won't see any change to the results, after the race is over, because we hate to see that happen. But it is a possibility if people aren't a little more careful than normal with where their car is on the track. All right, so the clock is now at 0, and we are waiting for the server to click over to the race session, and we'll go through the grid as we always do. Yeah, I think it's really hard to bet against Ray today. I think there's a lot less threats on a track like this than there were at Phoenix. So, barring any strange circumstance, I think he's an excellent bet to win. Also, I'd like to give a shout-out, while we have a second here, to Jake William, our friend over from GP Laps. If you haven't seen it, he did an absolutely brilliant stream yesterday of it's a Assetto Corsa, and I can hear some of our physics experts clutching their pearls, but it was a classic sports car race at the old Riverside, and it was fantastic. The cars looked amazing. They sounded amazing. Jake did a stream of that, and he finished third in class driving a Daytona Coupe. It was really, really cool. I posted it on our sim racing video section in the forum. I was busy doing a bunch of work, freelance stuff, and was listening to his stream as I was working, and it was a perfect companion piece for my Saturday afternoon. All right, so we will be heading to... Okay, Ray is already in his grid slot. Some people are waiting so that they're... Well, okay, I think the game just caught up with us. Here we are now with the cars getting into position on the grid, and as soon as Ray rolls away, we will give you the full rundown of the 26-car field. Engines idling here. Don't want to get too much heat built up in them, but looks like everybody's where they need to be, and off goes Ray. On the pole, Ray Radal, Williams Renault. In second place is Richard Coxon, Tyrrell Honda. Third, David Saber, Ferrari 642. Fourth, Anders Nilsson, Jordan Ford. He won the last time out at the Phoenix Iceberg United States Grand Prix. Fifth is Robin DeVos. Good qualifying effort from him and his Delara Judd. Sixth is Jules Bouchard and the other Jordan Ford. Seventh, Richard Wilkes, Tyrrell Honda 020. Eighth, John Team, Leighton House Ilmore, CG 911. Ninth is going to be Ruben Fernandez in the Lotus Judd 102B. I do not believe that Brian Janik is here today, so this is probably the only Lotus on the grid. Grant Radal lines up 10th in his Delara Judd. 11th, Juha Boss. This will be the last time that we see this Benetton, I believe. 12th, Tim Hilla driving for Minardi. 13th, Bruno Chacon in the other Benetton. 14th, Cesarius Lipinski in the other Minardi. 15th, Gabriel Del Piccolo for AGS Ford. 16th, Luciano Rosa, who scored points last time out for Ferrari. He's in the 642 as well. 17th is Oscar Team in his Leighton House Ilmore. 18th, Alan Santo, McLaren Honda MP46. 19th, Nicholas Kirsten, LaRousse Ford LC91. 20th, Mikael Drexler in the other Williams Renault. 21st, Luke Rosella in the Footwork Porsche. 22nd, Salvatore Sirignano. There we go. Salvatore Sirignano in the Fon Matal Ford. Ricardo Mendez in the only Brabham Yamaha, I believe, on the grid. 14th is Francois Remen in the much ungainly Ligier Lamborghini, at least according to Thierry Boots. And 25th, Peter Hlavich in his Footwork Porsche. And rounding out the field is Cale McKeels, and there, I was proved wrong, there is the other Lotus in the hands of Cale McKeels. The DNQs for this race are as follows: Claudio Augusto, Gilles Toe, Paolo Rossetti, Rob De Vries, Julien Meunier, and Fernando Portiero. Those are the drivers that were not able to make this field. There were like 28, 29 cars out there. Only 26 will start. And
if you were wondering, some of you, why I didn't rate Coxon as favorite, he is on Pirellis, and we have 28 degrees ambient temperature.
Yeah, that's... Well, he mentioned that early on, and yeah, the Pirellis could be a problem. Here is a very interesting thing. The AGS of GPD, or GDP, is just now getting in slot. Now everybody's waiting. Stand by for the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix, and there we go. The race is underway. Lots of smoke. Everybody doing their best to get away quickly. Looks like a bit of contact back there, but look at the beautiful start that Ray Riddall gets. He's clearing away of everybody else. As we head through this first series of curves, we'll see if everybody gets through here okay. I don't see too many problems. No bent wings. Looks like everybody is being very patient. And yeah, it does look like everybody got through there really well. Grant Riddall back in 10th. We'll see how he can progress as we go.
Not back in 10th. He's already 3rd.
Oh, he's already 3rd? Good grief.
Yeah, I was watching him. He did an incredible start. Absolutely incredible. Negotiating all the traffic in the first turn.
That's incredible. Let's take a look at that start again real quick and see if we can see what precipitated that. Because if you look at the start, he is actually he's in 10th place to start here. That's incredible. So he charged right up from the back. Okay, here we go. We're going back to the grid now. And now the start. Look at this, right from Grant Riddall's car. He just got off on a flyer. I think also he was helped by some of the contact on the outside. Yeah, and he's in 3rd even before he gets to the first turn. That's incredible. Wow. And it looks like he's trying to go for 2nd place around the outside of Cox. And is he going to be able to hold the place? No. But man, Grant is in much better form here than he was in qualifying, that's for sure. Here they come down the back straightaway, and you can see the fighting that's been going on here. Here he goes. Here comes David Saber trying to overtake Grant. Is he going to get him? No. Oh, no. Saber has spun out. Oh, that's too bad. Saber had an excellent qualifying session, and now he's losing all manner of positions. He just tapped wheels with Grant Riddall there, and now he's down to 13th place, 14th now. That's a disaster. I'm really sorry to see that. Here's a replay. You can see what happened. He just got clipped there by Grant slamming the door on him as they came into the corner, and it was just enough to send the Ferrari around. That's really too bad.
Maybe he was a bit too impatient, because I think in the following straight he could have basically overtaken it, but never mind, it has happened already.
So Ray Riddall actually benefiting from all this hargy-bargy going on back here. He's pulled out to about a 2-second lead right now over Coxon, who is in 2nd. Grant Riddall still in 3rd, and Wilkes has moved up to. Actually, no, was I looking at somebody else? No, I was looking at Coxon there. My apologies. Oh no, here he is. Wilkes is in 5th place, and that's looking really good for him. He didn't have a good outing at Phoenix, so we'll see if he can make something of this Nakajima Tyrrell in this Brazilian Grand Prix.
So there is now a Leighton House, I think. Yes, that's Oscar Tim, who had spun in turn 1, but he has recovered. And he's last now.
Oh, he's in last? Oh, yes, Oscar Team is now running last. His brother, John, is actually in 7th place, picking up right where he left off last Sunday with the Leighton House. He scored 1 point, finishing 6th, which is a very respectable result in this car. And he's in 7th right now, looking at Jules Bouchard. Right here, we're looking at from the cockpit of Jules, and it's an Ilmor engine that John is using, and you can see the elevation change here as you're going around this circuit. Now Grant is going to take another crack at Coxon here, it seems, as they come down the straight. No, he's not quite close enough yet.
Yeah, not yet. We will see how the situation develops as the car starts wearing out. But you can see that Coxon is, as usual, quite unfazed by the movement of others.
Yeah.
He keeps his line.
Yeah, he's a cool customer.
And he does his job. Yeah, it's hard to overtake him because of that. He's not letting himself be faced by whatever antics the car behind him is doing. So it's difficult to make him nervous.
That's a great...
Not the one who is going to move all around trying to shut doors and losing loads of time while doing that.
Yeah, Coxon's a guy who pretty much drives his own race. He doesn't get flustered very easily. so it doesn't surprise me in the least. And Nilsson just holding station behind them in 4th place. Good start for him after having won in America. So we'll see what happens there. Wilkes, I would think that he'd put some kind of a challenge up at some point here. And Bouchard is in 6th. And John Team at 7th. Looks like Team is starting to close a little bit on Bouchard, so we'll have to watch that as well. Yeah, Grant cannot... Grant's actually a little further back now, this time around, compared to Coxon, so he's not going to have a shot here. Let's take a look further back in the field, see what's going on. David Saber is 13th now. He may be able to make a recovery drive out of this. I wouldn't count him out necessarily. Here is, I believe, Alan Santo trying to overtake Chacon and does so into the first turn. That's an interesting matchup. Santo versus Chacon in the Benetton, but it appears Santo's able to use that V12 Honda power and put some distance between himself. Here comes Saber up the inside of Slapinski for 12th place. Oh, no, he's not going to be able to hang on to it. That was very close, but he just didn't have the momentum to now he's trying to get in Slapinski. Almost contact again there. He's got to watch it. He doesn't want to... and look at this. Here comes Santo chomping at the back of his car. He's looking to move forward with his V12 Honda.
Yeah, all this situation meant that David basically lost momentum.
Yeah.
Fighting with the other Ferrari engine car. Oh, and Slapinski goes wide.
Yep, Slapinski into the gravel, into the grass, but returns. He doesn't lose much time there. That's another nice thing about this circuit. You have some room to go off if you make a mistake. You can see it right there. We're coming from a circuit. Oh, there goes Nicholas Kirsten off. And it looks like a slow corner from the footwork there of Luke Rosella, and that brings Slapinski up to 16th. But we're coming from a very different situation from Phoenix. Not just that this is a very... it's not just that we're at a track that has a lot of up-down elevation change, but there's a lot of room here. If you make a mistake, you won't hit a wall. You'll be able to kind of struggle back onto the track. Better than being out of the race. Okay, Rocha is lining up Chacon here, but no, he's not going to have the opportunity. I'm sorry, not going to have the opportunity here. Maybe in another corner or two. But Chacon running 14th. We're for the Benetton team. Santo holding 13th, and Saber is 12th now in the Ferrari.
It's quite a tight group there, and there is another one also in front of them, which is now slowly spreading a bit. But there's John Team, Juha Boss, and Tim Hille. Three of them are relatively close together and coming up to Bouchard.
Fernandez
so Riley Dahl just posted the quickest lap.
Well, that's no surprise. Yep, still in first place. He's got a good... he's not pulling out too big of a gap. It's just 2 seconds between him and Coxon. And then we have Grant Riddall. Then here comes Nilsson. Then Wilkes. Then there's a bit more of a gap before you get back to Bouchard. Yeah, so cars are starting to spread out here. And here comes Saber, who's trying to hold off Santo. Luciano Rocha had a look at Chacon there for a second, but thought better of it. So from race perspective, this has gotten off to a really, really excellent start. Coxon, I think, would be happy too. And Grant is probably the story of the race right now, going from 10th all the way up to 3rd at the start of the race. That was fantastic.
Yeah, and I can see Gabriele Del Piccolo is now last, which is quite interesting because he was, I think, somewhere in the 15th, 16th place. So something must have happened to him some time ago. But, I mean, still the 26 cars that started the race are there. So no accidents, no big shunts or incidents, and that's good.
Yeah, so far it's been a pretty clean race. We haven't had any trouble. The only notable thing is the contact that Saber had, but he's already back running again, so he just has to make up a lot of time. And Ruben's doing a pretty good job in the Lotus. He lost a couple of places from the start. He's 11th right now, but he is doing battle with, I believe that is, it should be Robin DeVos, yes, who qualified, actually conversely, compared to his teammate. He didn't have that great of a start. He's down in 10th, and he was qualified all the way up in, he was all the way up in 5th, so he had not as good a start. So we'll see if Fernandez is able to do anything with him here in his Lotus. This is the older version of the 102B that Brian Janik had so much fun with at Phoenix. He really enjoyed that race a lot. Taking some pride in the car because he had modeled part of it, of course.
So Tim Hill is really making Juha's life miserable in this race because he's constantly trying to overtake him, showing him the front of the car.
Yeah.
Now they got a bit more of distance in between them, but as soon as they come to the slow part of the track, the hostilities commence again.
Yeah, this is one of those situations where I think the speed combined with the types of turns we have here, cars are going to have aero washout in certain situations, and it's going to make for a very, very difficult run for some people.
Yeah,
this is one of the few tracks, actually, when you think about it, it's one of the few tracks that runs counterclockwise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which physically won't make much of a difference for our drivers, but in real life that would have been a challenge for a lot of drivers because their neck muscles are trained to go the other way. In any case, here comes Hilla looking up the inside of Boss. Can't get much done there. Driving a Minardi with last year's Ferrari engine. "12 cylinders here, and 8 cylinders for Juha. But look at how Juha's able to streak away there. I'm wondering if he's running low wings.
Yeah, this must be something quite different in the setup here because it's noteworthy how he's getting away from Tim Hille in the quick section. I don't know, maybe it's also a matter of the downforce in the Benetton that is likely much better in the Minardi. And that allows him to go quicker in those fast turns.
Look there, John Team trying to get by Juha, but can't get it done. He was almost alongside, but just couldn't quite get it. Juha slammed the door on him. Uh-oh, we have one DNF right now. Schlapinski is out of the race. That's our first retirement of this race. Probably happened eons ago, and we're not going to be able to see what happened, but it's too bad because he's in the other Minardi, and even though the chassis may not be the best in the mod, it certainly has great power with the Ferrari engine. So team is in a sandwich between Chacon and, I'm sorry, it's Boss and Hille, yes, thank you. Heading up the hill now.
He's ninth with the same Minardi, so it's not that it's a bad car. And up at the front, the gap for Riley Dahl is basically staying there. I mean, it depends on the part of the track, but it covers around the 2 seconds mark. So it's not as if he has, like, run away easily from everybody.
Yeah, it looks simple what he's doing, but to be honest, it's you know, the car doesn't drive itself. He has to balance it properly and take good care of it. And even though it is a superior car in a lot of ways, it doesn't mean it doesn't mean you put a puppet in there and it can win.
And he's also probably doing the typical Niki Lauda or Alain Prost tactic, which is obviously the superior one, and that's do the race as slow as you can.
Absolutely.
To win. I mean, do it the slowest that you can while winning.
And that pretty much seems to be what's going on, because that gap is about the same. It hasn't changed since the start of the race. It's still in the 2-second range. So,
yeah, because in other games, other mods, you might not be so concerned about the reliability and all that. But here we strive for as much realism as possible in those regards. And you can be sure that if you're punishing the car and you're overdriving it, you will be paying dearly for it later. And our drivers are very much aware of that. And so I don't think that we should be seeing anybody trying to do crazy races on their own, because they won't be lasting long.
uh-oh, it looks like a slight problem for Coxon here. He locks up the wheels. Let me take a look at a replay of that.
Yeah, it could be that Pirelli's already signed in that they are not the second.
Yeah, he locked up the right front there. No, it's nothing too crazy. He's all right.
A very tight group there, right? At the 10th and 10th to 13th. There's 4 cars there that are really struggling, trying to pass each other.
Well, Saber is the one who's the most desperate. He's chomping all over the back of Fernandez. He wants that position. Right now he's thinking about all the positions he lost.
No, and the fact that Alan Santo is coming with him, with a very powerful car, with the McLaren Honda.
Absolutely.
It's right behind him, so if he makes any error, if David can pass the other cars quickly and that, he will be soon facing the need of defending against Alan.
Well, he wasn't able to get alongside there, Ruben, but he made a try of it. He just looked down the inside, almost had him. Oh, Ruben runs a bit wide there. That's something that the stewards are going to be watching. Here comes David, though. He's staying right with him through this twisty section. He might have a chance here on one of these corners to slip by. We'll see. Ooh, very close here as they're coming through these up and down twisty bits behind the front straight. There's going to be another Lotus coming in this series, isn't there? This is not going to be. They're not going to be stuck with the 102B the whole way.
I'm not so sure, but I think yes, they will be getting a new car.
And there he's got him alongside, and he goes by right there. He just had a little bit of a faster exit from the corner and was able to slip by Ruben. Excellent job. Saber up to 11th place now, but look out, here comes Ruben right back. Is he going to get him on the... no. Well, wait a minute. Okay, he's got a little purchase there. Oh, contact again for David Saber. I don't believe this. That's the second time he's spun out. At this point, he's got to be getting frustrated. He needs to try to calm down. Because...
Whoa. There's also a lot of contact there between John Tim, Jules Bouchard, and Tim Hille.
Oh my goodness, look at this. Whoa.
Yeah, that was very interesting to watch, because while Bouchard and Tim were fighting it out, Hille was waiting there and he overtook both of them.
Team has got the back end of his Leighton house all over the place. He's trying really hard to get that position back.
Right now, Brian Vidal has lapped the first car.
Well, that's not surprising considering the pace that he's putting up. Yeah, and he's lapped a Ligier Lamborghini, which was one of the more ungainly cars in this mod to drive. Not so much for the chassis, but for the fact that the Lamborghini is big and heavy.
Although one of the best sounding.
Best sounding, yeah, it sounds good. Coxon also dispenses with, I believe that is, trying to remember, it's Remen. Remen, running in 25th right now and last. Things have cooled down a little bit with the Hille group over here. not as crazy. Although Hill, it really lets the back end hang out there. It's rare to see cars of this kind oversteering too much. If anything, I would expect cars to push around here because the front tires might get really hot with the speed of these.
They are also still very heavy on fuel, so it doesn't surprise me much that the back is a bit over the place until they settle down. Remember that one of the difficulties that the drivers have in this season, same as it was last year, is that they have to account for not making fuel stops, so the car is very, very heavy at the beginning of the race, but then very light at the end. So you need to get a compromise on the setup that allows you to drive in those very different circumstances.
Right in on board with Santo, who just took advantage of a miscue by Fernandez and moves up to 11th place as they enter the 16th lap. But Fernandez, gets really loose, trying to counterattack, but it looks like Santos got that 11th place pretty well. But he took advantage of Fernandez having a slow exit from turn 13. Okay, here's a hot battle between Gabriel Del Piccolo in 17th and Salvatore Sirignano in 22nd. This is a battle for 22nd place. We get a rare chance to put the Fond medal on TV. But look at this! He's got an excellent. Is he going to get by? No, contact. There's contact, and he spins
just
out.
As Caio Michiel spins in front of them.
Caio spun, and that was completely unrelated. Now here comes. Look at this, Gabriel up the outside. Is he going to make it stick coming around? Yes, he is. Oh, no, he's not. No, he spins out. Oh, no, against the wall. Just gives it a little love tap. Now, can he get he's got the car running. He comes around. My goodness, let's take a look at a replay of that because he got alongside.
There was a lot of coursing in Italian.
Yes, but he just lost the back end is what happened. On the outside there, I guess there was some marbles there. It just was off the preferred line. But man, fireworks back here at the other end of the field. And Caio, he falls back to 22nd, and that gives Salvatore Sirignano. I'm getting more opportunities to pronounce his name correctly. At least I think I am. He's now up to 21st place in the Fond Metal. This is the company that made a lot of the wheels the cars were running, right?
Yeah, correct. It's a rims company.
Yeah, but they ran their own car in this series a couple of seasons, I think. And this is the car that was driven at the time by the master blocker, Olivier Grouillard. Who, if you saw him and you were planning to put a lap on him, he did not see you at all. Came over to Indy cars for a bit in the 90s, I remember. Didn't make too big of an impression, but he's known for his tendency to not be very helpful for the front of the field when they were overtaking him. Lavic is in 19th in this race in his footwork Porsche. See if he can make any inroads or maybe take advantage of any attrition that happens during the race. Luke Rosella is in the other footwork, and he is in 18th place right now. And then Kirsten, who we saw go off track a little bit earlier, he is in 17th, 16th is Chacon. Drexler, 15th in the other Williams Renault, the Ricardo Patrese one. So he's still coming to grips with this car. Drexler is a lot faster than that position might indicate, but I'm sure he'll get better at it with a little bit more time. And
speaking about Drexler or the other Williams, Coxon is close to 1.2 seconds.
Interesting.
Ray Vidal. Yeah, it's nothing that is still worrying for Ray Vidal, but now Coxon is being a bit held up behind the lap car, but in any case, he was getting closer, which is quite noteworthy considering that the Pirelli should not be working that well.
Yeah, he's got caught behind the AGS of Gabriel Del Piccolo now, but he shouldn't be too hard to get by. Coxon runs a bit wide there, actually. A little bit of washout, it looked like. Wow, this is interesting. Coxon's trying to get by Gabriel, and he's not making it easy for him. I wonder what's going on here. I don't think Coxon's going to be too happy about this. He's already lost. He's already 3.5 seconds, 6, 7 down on the leader. I don't know what's happening here. Oh, now he pulls by and lets him go, but not before he's cost him a bunch of time. So Coxon, I'm sure, is not thrilled about that situation, but at least he's free and clear of Del Piccolo now. As we said earlier, only one retirement so far from this race, so attrition hasn't reared its head quite yet. Grant is in third. Fourth is Anders Nilsson. Fifth, Richard Wilkes. Boss is in sixth, but he may come under attack in a minute from Tim Hille, who is right behind him in seventh place. Tim has been showing some good pace in that minority. I think that shot's probably the best.
So all this situation has put Richard Coxon 3.5 seconds behind Ray Ridal, and Grant is closing now a bit more to him, although still quite far behind.
Yeah, but look at this. Tim Hille is slowly reeling in Juha Boss, using that Ferrari power. They're about to catch up to Remen, was the first car who went a lap down, so not sure that'll make any difference, but Juha's, I'm thinking that Juha's running a pretty trimmed out car. What do you think?
It's certainly quite striking what kind of top speed he has. Yeah, he might have given away a bit on grip just to be like safer on the straights and be able to overtake and defend better.
All right, so now Juha has to take care of Remen, and Remen actually pulls out of the way, very sporting. And he lets Hille by, too, so Hille actually was not held up at all by Remen there. He gets on with the program, and now he's right with Juha. Oh! Right down to the inside. He'd like to take a shot here, but he just doesn't have the room yet. I imagine in this race, one of the hardest things for everybody is to be disciplined with the tires and to not let that right front heat up too much.
Yeah, absolutely. And when the pit stops come, we will see who is heading to go in earlier.
See, look at that. See how far Juha pulls out on that straight? A little bit of a lock up there from Tim, but I really think that probably is why I'm going to wager that Juha is running low wings to get the most speed out of the car, and that's probably why Hille is closing on him in the slower bits, because he's got more grip.
Yeah, the problem is that the best overtaking places here are the quicker ones.
That's true.
That's a very wise setup done by Juha, because he knew very well how he could defend.
Juha's a very smart driver. So it's still the same up front. Ray Ridal is in the lead in his Williams. Second is Richard Coxon. Third is Grant Ridal. Fourth is Anders Nilsson. Fifth, Richard Wilkes. And then we're looking at this battle for sixth right here between Juha Boss and Tim Hille. Eighth is Jules Bouchard. Ninth is Alan Santo. 10th, Robin DeVos. 11th is Ruben Fernandez. 12th, David Saber after his early spins. 13th, Luciano Rocha. 14th, Mikael Drexler. 15th, Bruno Chacon. 16th, Nicholas Kirsten. Yeah, look at it. He just sprints away on the straight. It's really interesting.
Meanwhile, Coxon set the quickest lap to cut down half a second to Ray Vidal compared with some of the previous laps.
Yeah.
He's now 3 seconds.
That time that he spent stuck behind Gabriel, though, is really, really... he still is...
Yeah, that's correct. That's what has made him want to speed up. So
Yeah.
the problem here is if he will be punishing the tires too much. But he can clearly see right in front.
And make note also, not only is he pushing the car harder and that worries the tires, it's compounded by the fact he's running Pirellis.
Interesting. Grant is already signaling pits.
No way.
Maybe this is an automatic reply.
It could be.
Reply from the pro. But
Yeah,
wait
it's
a moment,
auto.
because he's coming now. He's coming now to the pit entry. Let's see what he does. And he's in.
He's in. Grant is stopping. It's very interesting. No pit speed limit here, so you can just haul ass through here as much as you like. Oops, sorry. Not a family program anymore. Grant Ridal goes up on his...
Softs in the front.
Okay.
And mediums in the rear. So maybe that's what happened. I mean, it's Pirellis, and maybe the softs are not taking the pitting so nicely here.
All right, so there he goes. He's away. He hasn't lost too much in the way of track position. He's still 6th, now 7th. And it's easy to make a mistake on this triple Armco covered pit straight here. You got to watch out. And Grant looks like he's going to rejoin with no incident, but he's down to, he's going to be at 8th here. Yeah, he's down to 8th now, so he's got some work to do. But there are going to be other cars that come into the pits later on, so he'll be able to make up some of that time. But he felt that his tires weren't helping him. Now Santo sees an opportunity here because Grant is on cold tires.
Yeah, he's locked it right in between.
Right, between him and Bouchard. Yeah, the gap is pretty much holding steady right now at 3.5 seconds between Ray and Richard Coxon. Anders is in 3rd now because of the pit stop of Grant Ridal. 4th is Wilkes. 5th, Juha Boss. So Juha moves into the top 5, and Hilla, for that matter, is now in the points in 6th. But still not able to get by Juha. 7th, Bouchard. 8th, Grant. Let's see if Grant can do anything here with Jules Bouchard in front of him here. And a Judd-powered Dallara.
Evans is coming out of the pits. It seems that Grant has loaded there, but doesn't seem to be that much quicker than these guys.
Yeah, it seems about the same pace.
Well, you gotta remember that he was basically racing on his own before, and now he's stuck in traffic.
Yeah, he was by himself.
All that washout that you were mentioning before, and that's certainly going on here. He might be thinking, well, I had to pit early because my front tires were not holding up too well. If I start forcing the car here without any real need of doing so, maybe I'm going to suffer even more, because he had an early pit entry, even if he was running on his own. So in traffic, it's always going to be worse.
Contact! Contact between the two of them. And here comes Santo.
Is how desperate the move looked.
Yeah. Hopefully there wasn't too much, if any, damage incurred by either of them. Looks like he's okay, but he definitely wants to get by Jules and get on with the program here.
Yeah, but I think that Jules is deservedly defending the positions, because it's not as if he is like hampering a much quicker car at all. Look at that! Now he went over the curve, and that was no doubt washout.
Oh,
as you
whoa,
pointed
yes. These are very, very fast corners through here. They're a lot faster than they appear on the map. You'd think they're slower than they are, but they're actually a lot faster. And Jules is doing an excellent job holding his position here versus Grant.
Yeah, the other one that is eating blocks of washout is Tim Gillen. Because every time he approaches behind Juha post, you can see how the artist starts shaking.
Well, he might take another stab at it here, but he seems a bit too far back right now.
Not right now, yes. But that's because it's a quick section. As we mentioned before, that's why Juha is always able.
But Jules made sure. He turned in a little early there, just to cover himself. What a difference a year makes. Jules, I think he's struggling just a little bit to come to terms with this Jordan.
Yeah, he's the defending champion.
They're overtaking now Oscar team, putting him a lap.
Grant, as soon as he went over the curve, the cars started moving. Probably very low and still.
Yep. He's close to him again this time. He might have another shot. Bouchard protecting the inside. And that does the job. He just had to protect the inside a little bit, and that gave him superior positioning. But wait a minute, here comes Grant back on the outside as they head down the long back straightaway. It's a drag race now. And look at that. Grant gets by. Grant up into 7th place. Could have been a function of tires overheating there. I'm not sure.
Yeah, with the sensitivity of these tires, you can feel lots of differences from lap to lap if you overheated them in the previous one. So even if a driver is on fresher tires, even on better components or whatever, if he has been overdriving the tires, he could very well, over 1 or 2 laps until they cool down, be actually slower than another one that has theoretically better.
True. Yeah, very true. And Coxon has reeled in Ray a little bit, but not much. Just a tiny amount. It looks like if there's going to be any change in position, it's going to be via pit stops. We'll see. Anders.
Yeah, we are on lap 29 from 71, so those who are going to do a single pit stop, they should be getting close to that, because I imagine with the heavy fuel load, the first stint should be maybe a bit shorter than the second one.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's we're already getting close to half distance, so we'll keep an eye on this group and see if any of them want to come in. Another lap started for Ray Riddall, Wilkes in 4th. I'm not sure what I'm trying to remember what happened to Wilkes in the United States Grand Prix. I think he had an accident close to the start or something, or whatever happened.
No, Wilkes didn't take part.
Oh, he didn't. Okay, well that would explain why I don't remember him being in the race.
Yeah.
Trying to remember why he wasn't in the race. I can't remember.
So I can see Gabriele Del Piccolo just exited the pits, so he got new tires. Remen was in the pits also some laps ago. Those together with Grant are the only ones that I remember having done a pit stop. And Grant, speaking of, is now setting the quickest lap.
Interesting. So his choice of getting fresher tires was a good choice.
Oof, problems for Ricardo Mendes there. He overheated the tires clearly. First he spun, then he was not able to recover. Now he's slowly getting up to speed again.
Replay, upcoming. Ricardo Mendes, yeah, he just runs clear off the course. Clearly, and then he, the opposite problem occurs. His back end kicks out, trying to recover. That must be a very difficult car to drive, the BT 59Y.
Yeah, those cars with way less downforce than the better ones, and that as soon as you are overheating the tires and that, they become absolutely undrivable.
Well, people are pretty spread out here, except for Fernandez, who's chomping all over the back of Tim Hille here. Hill is in ninth. Fernandez tries the inside, but gets the door slammed on him. Maybe Fernandez can get him at the end of the straight here. No, he's too far back. Fernandez in 10th place. Hille might have made a pit stop, because he was in 6th before. Now he's in 10th.
Yeah, that's likely a pit stop.
Yep.
Let me see when it was. Much action in the track. Yeah, he was 8 seconds slower on the previous lap, so probably he was in the pit stop.
All right. Coming up to K.O. McKeel's now. The 26th and last starter for this race, now up to 22nd. But this is a track. I'm really starting to realize now, the more I watch these guys, how hard it is to keep your tires from overheating, given the nature of the track.
Yeah, you must be absolutely very smooth and be very mindful about the moment when you are starting to push the throttle on the corner, because that immediately starts overheating the front, because as you put the throttle in, the car wants to basically go to the outside. You have to force it in again with the steering wheel. That's rubbing against the front tires.
Here we have both low tie in the same frame here, with McKeel's being overtaken by his teammate, Ruben.
Coxon is stuck behind 2 lap cars. He tries to be cautious moving around, but he's again losing a lot of time, which is very unfortunate for him.
Yeah, he really doesn't need this, but this is Remen, the second time Remen's been lapped, so... But I don't think Remen will be giving too much trouble. No, he's making room for him on the outside there, so Coxon can get by. And there's the leader. You can just see him in the picture. So... interesting to see if Coxon...
Yeah, it's a 3 seconds gap.
Yeah, it's 3 seconds at this point, you're right. Yeah, no direct conflicts in the top 6.
Grant set another quick lap. So he's on the move. Now that's what we were talking about, because he has clear track ahead of him. He's now coming up to Juha Boss. That would be 4th position, but as soon as he was able to get out of traffic, he was immediately so much quicker. And one thing that we are seeing here today, I think barring Juha Boss, who has obviously very low wings, all the cars seem to be quite even in terms of power. You can see that overtaking is not easy at all, even with cars that are theoretically so much better. The pace is clearly there, thanks to the downforce, but not to the power.
Yeah. Well, Grant's right with Juha now. Don't let the car wash out too much. No, he's keeping it under control. Might have a chance at the end of the straight here.
Look how Juha moves away. Let's see if Grant can here pick the slipstream. Oh, Juha's in the pits.
Yeah, Juha goes into the pits. There he is. Juha makes his pit stop.
So that's soft all around for Juha. Yeah, obviously to compensate for the lack of downforce.
There he goes. Juha down to 12th place, but nope. But there are other people that have yet to pit. So,
and I can see that Luciano Rocha got ahead of David Summers and when the battle between the two Ferraris so far. Let's see if they have done a pit stop. No pit stops for them so far.
yeah, Rocha's up to 9th now as he overtakes the Fon Metal on the inside there.
Coxon is 2.5 seconds behind Price, so he has been slowly reeling in, which is noteworthy considering that he hasn't done any pit stop. Although he's right now, as I speak, signaling. Let's see what happens on the next lap.
Yeah, a bunch of people are benefiting from this cycle of pit stops. Grant back up to 5th now.
Hill is signaling pits too.
Yep, here he comes.
Yeah, there he goes. Softs all around for him.
Okay.
Let's see, Coxon. Now that's funny because we thought that him had already stopped, so maybe he had a spin.
Possibly.
Okay, here is Coxon coming in. And it's soft all around for him.
Yep, there he is in the pits.
Right keeps going, but he signals pits now.
So now Ray is probably going to be coming in the next time around. Coxon is in 3rd at the moment and looks like he's going to hang on to that 3rd place. Maybe he'll, I don't know, he might lose it here, but
another quick lap by Grant. And Richard Wilkes also signaling pits.
So we've got everybody coming in right about now. Ray Riddall's gap with the pits with the pit stops that have happened is now 16.5 seconds. He's probably going to spend 30 seconds total in the pits. So we'll see what happens here. If Anders Nilsson is able to catch him, but I think Anders also has to make a pit stop. So.
Okay, so here comes Ray now.
Yep, into the pits.
So that's mediums all around.
Okay, medium tires.
Well, I mean, obviously the higher downforce in that car means that he's pushing much higher G-forces on the corners, so it's no wonder that he needs some. Let's see, Coxon is coming now. So Rai is now 2nd because Anders
now
went
he's 3rd.
5. Yeah, because Coxon was actually able to overtake him. Well, now that's interesting because there were 2.5 seconds in between them before Coxon stopped. So Coxon has made a blistering quick pit stop.
Well, I figured that was the only way that this was going to be resolved, by pit stops, and there you go. Coxon had the superior pit stop.
Yeah, but I can see that Rice, for example, now 7 seconds behind Coxon. So. That's a really incredible difference between both of them because that's a total of 13 seconds that Richard has gained in the pit stop. I don't know where they come from. Well, obviously there's also the first lap that he was able to do on beta tires, but still, it's incredible.
All right, so Nilsson now at the front leading by 8.4 seconds. We'll see if he dives for the pits this time around.
Well, I don't think he will be able to make the whole race on those tires, but
no.
you never know.
Actually, he's going for another lap now.
Yep.
Anders Nilsson, the winner of the United States Grand Prix, round number 1. It'd be amazing if he could make it 2 for 2. But he certainly is getting on well with that Jordan. I remember when I was a kid watching this series in Formula One '91. I think I was like in 9th grade, maybe. And the Jordan was obviously one of the most pretty cars on the circuit. It was beautifully sculpted, and it was interesting to watch a team that basically was a Formula 3000 team, graduated to Formula One, do as well as they did. Eddie Jordan obviously knew what he was doing as far as an organizational point of view. The car was designed by Gary Anderson, and they had an excellent 1991, frequently finishing in the top 5, sometimes on the podium. And
okay,
then,
there you go. That's under signaling pits.
Okay, so Anderson signaling pits. And then it was followed up by a disastrous 1992 when they had to pay the bills finally. They switched over to the Yamaha engine, and it was a disaster. They only scored 1 point in that series. You remember who scored that 1 point?
Nope.
Modena.
No, from over one. So here is Anders in the pits. Let's see what kind of tire he has got. Yeah, mediums all around.
All right, and
no wonder.
look back as the cars are coming through, because you're going to be looking for. Here comes the Williams Renault of Ray Radal. Coxon is still in first, so Ray is second. Grant now is in third. Anders is down to fourth once again, so he get his TV time at the front of the field, but now he's back down. Now actually he's down to fifth again. There goes Santo. This is a surprise. Santo's in fourth, but he has yet to pit, obviously.
Yeah.
But that's interesting.
And Grant is catching up very quickly with his dad, although I suppose he's going to do another pit stop.
Yeah, because we mentioned in the early part of the race,
Whoa, a spin, Del Piccolo there in front. Oof. Thankfully he went out of the track. Yeah, well, it's interesting now because there's an 8-second deficit for Wright to make up against Richard Coxon. Both of them on what are their final tires for the race.
That's the third spin we've seen in that area.
Yeah.
I've been counting them, so it's lucky he was able to get going again. And Coxon leading by 8 seconds, and I'd point out that we still only have one retirement in this race. 25 cars running still, which is unusual. And here we see Ray just overtaking Francois Remin. And yes, you're correct, Alberto. Grant is closing in on his dad. You can see him just there behind.
Well, Ray had a misunderstanding there with Remin, and he lost a lot of time there when trying to lap him.
Well, the Grant is now by the Ligier Lamborghini, and it appears he now has a chance to go after his dad. But this is going to be interesting because Grant, as we mentioned earlier, his pace in the race is far better than it was in qualifying. In qualifying, he can only manage 10th and then just rocketed away at the start, picking up 7 positions. He just caught everybody sleeping. Well, actually, you know what? It was that, plus there was some contact on the right-hand side next to him, and he took advantage of that.
Oops. Alan Santo just disappeared from the race. I was actually watching him.
There's two retirements there. It looks like there might have been
oh, damn it.
Disconnect. Shoot, that's too bad.
Very weird, because he was racing there and I saw him simply disappear from the screen.
Okay, so we're looking back now from Ray Radal's car, and you can see Grant just behind him.
Yeah, although Ray is already going quicker, he obviously is now very much aware of the big gap that is between Coxon and him. So he's probably just going to put everything in the line and try to make up for the lost time.
Yeah, Alan's telling us now that it was the game crashed. So that was what happened with him, which is really too bad because he was having a good race shaping up. He had yet to make a pit stop, and he was in the top 6, but still, he had a chance to do well in this race, and it just did not pan out, unfortunately, because of hardware. Sorry to hear that.
You can see Grant already understeering a bit into some of the corners.
Oh, he says he was risking away. He says he was risking a no stop. He was going to run the entire race with no pit stops. It's an interesting strategy. Well, we won't know how it panned out. It was going to pan out, unfortunately. So the gap between...
Richard Coxon just set the quickest lap. So, and in response, there we go. Wright just set again the quickest lap.
The gap is 8 seconds, and it's pretty level there between Ray and Coxon. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens here with the Pirellis that are on Coxon's car. You think there's a chance that he may have to make one more stop?
I don't think so, because if he was able to do half the race with 28 degrees ambient temperature and those tires and the bigger fuel load, I don't see anything that could possibly force him into doing another pit stop.
All right. Expert analysis. But look at this. Grant is definitely getting closer. At least in the twisty bits he is. Still, the gap is at 1.5 seconds. Same as it was before, but he certainly looks like he's closing in this part of the track at least. Ooh, he has a bit of a twitchy moment in turn 13 there. Yeah, I think Ray is being helped immensely by just the power of that Williams. That's the thing that's keeping Grant at bay right now, more than anything.
Yeah, but the gap is already diminishing between Richard and Wright. I mean, slowly, but diminishing. But I think that's a logical thing to happen because the Williams is such a superior car.
Yeah, so...
But Coxon won't go down without a fight.
No, he won't, and it looks like we're shaping up for a really interesting finish here. Just the way that the cars are placed and who's closing in on who and everything.
Incidentally, we have an all-British podium for now.
Interesting. All right, so before things get too crazy here, maybe we should do the trivia question. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the trivia question was, which of the following drivers finished first in pre-qualifying for the 1991 Brazilian Grand Prix? Is it A, J.J. Leto, B, Eric Van der Poel, or is it C, Bertrand Gachot? Time's up. What do you think?
Absolutely no clue, so let's just make a wild guess and say Bertrand Gachot.
Well, sorry.
Wrong.
The answer is J.J. Leto. Sorry. Okay, let's get back to the race.
So the gap is now below 7 seconds between Coxon and Wright. At least when they are going over the main stage. Wright is being held up now, I think in this section. Ooh, you.
What?
It's
What?
going to be easy
What?
to because he was about to overtake Bruno Chacon, but the car was coming out from the pits. So he could not use the full width of the main street and had to wait a bit. But now he already overtook. It's interesting to see that many times the drivers here are, I mean, they are not really directly confronting the one who they are actually fighting for position, but they are like, each one is having his own fight against lap traffic, while at the same time fighting it out at the distance against the other guy.
Now just gets by Rocha there. Not
Yeah,
Ferrari's.
the gap is over 8 seconds now again. That's all the lap traffic effect.
Yeah, that's what happens. Very unfortunate. At least not the greatest days for Ferrari. The Tifosi are not going to be happy with the performance here, but my guess is they'll do better when they get back on the. Well, the pressure will be turned up when they're at Imola. So I don't know.
Yep.
I've always.
So Saber is now signaling pits, which is a bit late, but let's see what happens.
Well, Saber is all the way down in 8th place. The only way he's really going to score any points is if somebody has a calamity in front of him. But kudos to him for keeping on and not being discouraged. It's easy to be discouraged in these cars because you have to drive 10/10ths all the time to get the most out of them. And if you get tired, or if you just get into a situation where you're not high up in the order, it's hard to maintain interest at times. At least it is for me when I've driven this mod a few times, and if you're in a lowly position, it's hard to just keep hammering away. But in any case, he's at this point now. He just has to keep getting through this lap traffic with as much aplomb as he can. And not.
Yeah, one interesting fact is that we are on lap 46 of 71, so we have done already a good amount of the race, and barring the people who got hardware problems, there was only one accident, and no did not finish seem to be related to lack of reliability, at least so far. So that means if this thing continues over the season, it means that points are going to be obviously much more expensive than in other series.
Yeah.
And that the strategy that you need to make for the race is going to be different than when you can be like conservative and just wait for the dead body of your enemy to go in front of you.
No, you don't have time to do that.
No, you are going to have to take risks.
Yep. So the gap is almost 9 seconds now, actually, between Ray and that's a reflection of those cars that he had to overtake. And Coxon continues on in front in his V10 Honda. This is the engine that McLaren used in 1990 and was then appropriated by Tyrrell. One of the few times that they had access to this engine, and the car and the engine combination was just very, very good, especially for Modena during the year. He qualified second at Monaco, and the only reason he didn't finish is because the engine blew up. And he ran second at Canada when Piquet won. So it's a good car and engine combination here. Okay, Grant is now in a morass here. He's trying to get by Nicholas Kirsten, and he can't do it, so he's losing time to his dad. He'd probably do it at the end of the straight here, but he's already lost a considerable amount of time. He's now it's a 2-second gap now that he has, so he lost a good 2.5.
Rocha, because it's for position with Kirsten. That was very clever. He was waiting there for Kirsten to make the move and open the gap for the lapping car.
Mm-hmm. Oh goodness, there's always something going on, and Grant actually locks up the tires there, so maybe just he pushed the car a bit too hard trying to get around that group. But you're right, that was a battle for position. He was trying to get around.
And Rocha keeps at it. He has got Kirsten in his crosshairs.
Yep. Let's go back and have a look at that battle, actually.
Quite noteworthy also that Luke Rosella and Peter Lavak are in the footworks in 15 and 16 position.
There goes Rosha, by on the outside. Just getting by Kirsten on the long straight using that V12 Ferrari power.
And as soon as Grant dispensed it with the lap cars, he set the fastest lap.
Well, there you go. That shows how much that can affect you. Now he's trying like mad to get some of that space back, but he's also on Pirellis, I believe.
Oh, and he's signaling pits again.
Again?
Grant. Yeah, well, he had another pit stop to do, obviously.
Yeah, because he pitted so soon. Yeah,
Correct.
There's that wrench. Yeah, those Pirellis of his, evidently, that was his strategy the whole time, was to do 2 stops, but, man, that hurts when you're that close to second place. You can reach out and feel it.
Well, if he had a second pit stop planned, then he never really was. It was just a virtual thing.
All right, so here he comes around to complete another lap. He's coming into the pits this time. Let's see the gap between himself and 4th place Anders Nilsson is 10.3 seconds, so he's probably going to lose that spot. And then it's a further 11 seconds back to Jules Bouchard, who's 5th. So we'll watch out of the corner of our eye here to see if there comes Nilsson. Nilsson wastes no time. And there's a...
Oh, interesting. And Grant put just mediums. He had before the softs in the front, so he must have realized that that was not a good combo.
It's a quick stop, though. He's still 4th. See if he can get to the end here. Bouchard now is just coming into turn 1. I think Bouchard will get him. But I don't imagine Grant will lay back there too long. Yeah, there you saw the green Jordan go by just on the outside. There he is, rejoining right behind Jules Bouchard. So we'll see if he can get that position back.
Coxon now 7.3 seconds ahead of Rai, who is finally able to go on his own pace on a clean track.
Good. We'll keep a close eye on that.
So barring Phoenix, that was a strict circuit. We can see here today many different interesting things from this first normal, so to speak, conventional track. And well, first of all, the lack of that magic boost button that everybody had last year is very noticeable when you are going to overtake.
Okay, here comes Grant now. It looks like he's going to take a shot at Bouchard at the end of the straight. Can he get it done? And, oh, a little bit of contact there, but he manages just to get by. Grant up to 4th place.
Fresher tires.
Yeah, fresher tires, fresher Pirellis, and those Pirellis do have much more grip at the start of the stint, I believe, than the Goodyears do. Reminds me of the old days in USAC 74 when the Firestones were grippier at the start and then fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
And the Goodyears were more even. You and I carried the Firestone torch a lot.
Yeah.
and we just I hated when that bottom fell out. It was the worst.
With the Viceroy cigarette boxes.
Yes, with the VPJ2s. Yes. Well, now that Grant is dispensed with Jules, it'll be interesting to see if he can catch Anders. Anders is another 11 seconds up the road.
Yeah. So right now, more fortunate here with the lap traffic.
Yep.
No time lost, but yeah, it's a big struggle. Every time they come to lap traffic, it's like the heart skips a beat.
Well, not only that, it's just you lose a lot of momentum. These cars have a lot of grunt, but when you lose momentum in a corner, it just kills your lap time. Just kills it.
Yeah.
And Grant's definitely pushing the car. You can see he gets all the way out onto the curb there, so he's not he's not laying about. He wants to try to get a podium finish if he can.
The gap is now below 7 seconds.
Uh-huh.
So Rai is really doing everything that he can. And now Richard's coming slowly to Michael Drexler, who is the second Williams. That's going to be his next objective. Well, the gap is now low 6s here in the quick section.
So it is coming down very, very slowly, and I'm thinking Coxon's going to at some point reach a point where the Pirellis are just not finito, but just not performing the way that the Goodyears will be on his competitor's car, Ray Radal, and we'll see a really excellent race towards the finish. That's what I'm hoping we're going to see here.
Rai is going to get now to two guys that are fighting it out. I think so.
There is a footwork Porsche off the track that was easy for Coxon to dispense with because he wasn't in the way. But
here comes Rai now. No, it's not a fight actually. It's Salvatore Serignano, who is in 14th. And Robin DeVos, who is 21st. But yeah, oh damn it. It's again the twisty section. It's so complicated to overtake people here, and it's always those precious tenths.
Yeah.
Rise losing here.
It can be so frustrating to gain little by little by little by little, and then have it all go away with just one misunderstanding with a back marker. And then you have to start building that all over again.
So I can see that the gap between Anders and Grant is now 10 seconds, so that means that Grant is reeling in about half a second per lap, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, it all comes down to where you arrive at the back markers. Do you arrive at them at a place which is convenient to get by, or do you arrive at them at a place in the track that's awkward? And I think that was what happened with Ray just a little bit ago. Just timing. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way that the chips fall.
Yeah. So Ray is now coming to Robin DeVos. Again in this slow section.
I doubt Robin's going to make much of a trouble for him, but we'll see.
Oh, but still, while you are approaching, it's always so...
right by.
It's those milliseconds that you are lifting earlier, braking, trying to gather the situation. And by the time you are by, you have lost already like 1/10 or 2/10. So even if everything goes flawlessly.
Actually, there are a bunch of other people now who are out of the race. Hlavic, Mendez, Gabriel Del Piccolo, also after an eventful race, Oscar Team, Bruno Chacon, and we already saw Alan Santo retired with hardware issues, so that's more retirements now, but they're at the other end of the field. It's not in a position that is going to help anybody points-wise. So the gap is still about 6.4 seconds between Ray and Coxon. But look at that. You can still see Grant back there. He's not going to go away. He's going to stay there and try to reel in his dad as best he can.
Whoops. Drexler.
Actually, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong car again. That was Robin DeVos. It was not... and he's a lap down, so that was not the nearest competitor. The furthest... Actually... Anders Nilsson's in third, and he is 14 seconds back. So Ray is pretty secure. It's just the question of can he reel in, and it might happen all of a sudden with the way that the Pirellis perform.
So the closest so far is Juha Boss, who is now trying to make a move from Richard Wilkes.
Yeah.
Who is in turn being a bit held up in this situation by a footwork. I mean, it's like not held up, but as we were talking about, you need to be so much more careful and mindful about what you're doing. Let's see if now in the quick section he's able to dispense with it. Yeah. There
Yep.
it goes. Now let's see if Juha gets in time to turn one. I don't think so. Yeah, good move by Wilkes, putting there the lap car.
Yeah, between Wilkes and Boss. I don't think it's gonna stay that way for long though.
Oi, David Sabre. He's going. What happened there? He wasn't even able to make the corner. And he's stopping 0 RPM. Oh, that's a blown engine.
His engine's gone. His engine let go. Let's see what happens here. He runs wide. There's the black smoke. Yeah, the Ferrari just letting go. So
no, it's a shame because he was already 10th.
Yeah, that's too bad. Not a memorable race for David. But we'll see what happens when they get back on the European continent and race in Imola.
So Rai is coming now to his teammate. I suppose that shouldn't be a problem.
On the other hand, there's a really hot battle now. But oh goodness! Oh, another spin. John Team. Well, it's kind of a half spin, but the back end got away from him, and he let the remaining Ferrari, Luciano Rocha, get by. Here's a replay. Rocha really didn't have a chance to get by him until this happened, but man, Rocha almost hit him coming out of that corner. And Jean Team is able to continue. In 12th. Rocha in 11th now. And going back to this battle here between Boss and Wilkes. This is the last race for this Benetton B190B. It will be replaced by the brand new B191 next race. I think several teams have new cars coming out
Yes.
He's got the little
Coxon is doing an Imperial drive, absolutely incredible.
Uh-oh! Juha's engine has just failed. The LCD display goes blank. Juha's day is over. Oh my goodness. Because he seemed to be doing so well there. I guess he just pushed this V8 too far.
Yeah, so some laps ago I was mentioning that reliability didn't seem to be so much of a problem, and there you go.
Yep. So 2 cars in succession having engine problems. Juha now out of the race. And that's actually a car that was further up the field, so interesting.
And I think it just joined us here in the booth.
I did.
Oh, hey, Juha. Sorry to see you. It looks like your HB engine just finally decided to quit.
Yeah, I was expecting it. I was going way too hard to catch Will, so it was seventh place doesn't pay a point, so I thought might as well go for it and blow it up.
Okay, well, Wilkes is in 6th now. He didn't have an opportunity to race in the United States, as my color commentator reminded me. So, what's the hardest part about driving this circuit out there? Is it maintaining or taking care of your tires, or what is it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
When I was on Pirellis, they tend to overheat quickly. So you have to baby them, even if there's a lot of Pirelli runners in the top 6 now. But
Well, that's what we're watching right now. We're watching the leader, Coxon, who is on Pirellis, and the gap between him and the second place of Ray Rideau started on the pole. It's shrinking, the gap is, but not quite fast enough if he's going to have any kind of
for the first time it's under 6 seconds now.
Yeah, but it's...
So now that the track has cleared up a lot, the Williams will obviously slowly be showing what it's capable of.
Yeah, but it may be a case of too little, too late. We'll have to see, because we're already... there's 10 laps to go now, coming up on in a couple laps here, and we'll see what happens. Juha, if you're still there, what do you think? I mean, you must be thinking you're going to have better fortunes in San Marino with the brand new B191.
I hope so. I prefer San Marino over this track, so hoping for better. And it should be less less killing on the tires. So hoping for better. But
you'll also get the new car, I think.
Sorry?
I think you'll also get the new car.
Yes, we get the 91, which has I think it has a monoshock. And the gap is now down to, what, 5.1 seconds?
Yep.
Rice coming quick.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He may have a shot here. We'll see. But I think it really comes down to the reason that sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, also Wilkes is closing in on Bouchard.
Well, the reason why, the principal reason that Coxon is where he is right now is he had a superior pit stop to Ray Radal. So that's principally why he's out in front here. But he's been driving a fantastic race. Hasn't been flustered by other people who are close to him. But that's Coxon. He's generally a pretty cool customer.
Yeah, now it's
4.7.
The table has turned, and it's Coxon's turn to be suffering a bit when lapping traffic, and the gap is down to 4.6.
Yeah.
Okay, you're now making all the room in the world.
And Juha is right. We've got Wilkes closing little by little on Jules Bouchard. And Bouchard, I'm sure, is going to be very anxious to finish in the points since he didn't score any last time out. It was his teammate that got all the glory with the win. So he'd like to get some points under his belt just to start the season here. Still getting to grips with this Jordan 191 chassis. Oh, and here's Grant once again caught behind lap traffic as Nilsson streaks ahead. Nilsson having another good race. This is going to be good for his overall points tally, even though he's not going to win. And the gap is 4.8 seconds now between Ray Radal and Coxon as he
Yeah, it went up from 4.5.
Now it's up to about 5. It really does come down to traffic in a lot of ways.
Yeah, and Wilkes is under a second behind Bouchard now. I think he might make a move on the, or maybe this lap on the straight. End of this lap.
Maybe. There's
That's looking likely because it's getting really close now.
There's a Fon Metal also they got to deal with here.
Oh, only half a second now.
Yeah. Oh, he's really pulling on him now. He's definitely gaining that Honda power, plus he might be running trimmer wings than Bouchard. Man, he's catching him hand over fist.
He's going for it. He's going.
Oh, man.
Oh, well.
Bailed out of it a bit late there. He's going to have to...
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that looks like damage.
Oh, no. Well, we'll have to keep an eye on him here. Hopefully he hasn't damaged the car. Yeah, he's crabbing a little bit now. Well, let's take another look at that. That was very close. We've seen incidents like this throughout the race, actually. The earliest one happened to David Saber, and he spun. I think Bouchard was very lucky not to spin in that situation. But yeah, it looks as if... and Wilkes immediately goes off the track, so it looks like something... And actually, now he's being overtaken by... or the Fon Metal's now catching up to him, so...
No, he's just overtaking it again.
Oh, again? Okay. From the previously, gotcha.
Yeah, because he's 1.2 behind now. So maybe he was reassessing the situation, or because he's gained 4 tenths over Bouchard in that sector.
I see.
I wouldn't be overly worried about the car's handling.
Okay, well, he's coming back at him again here very quickly. Let's see what happens.
I don't think we'll see a move. He's too far back. I think he's learned his lesson.
He's learned his lesson. He's not going to do it again. No. But still.
No, he needs to be closer first.
Yeah.
The gap between Coxon and Radal is still 4.5 seconds. But Grant Radal is only 2.7 behind Anders Nilsson.
Yeah, I figured that he was going to catch Nilsson a bit with the fresher tires. But Wilkes is definitely doing everything he can to close in on Bouchard here. right, here he comes. He's got placement now.
Yeah, this is the one.
Here he comes. Ooh. And yes, he's able to make it stick this time. It appears.
Yeah.
Yes, fine.
He blocks the line nicely.
He just gets by. Okay, so Wilkes now up into 5th place. Bouchard down to 6th.
Fun fact: both of these guys have been Formula One champions with the '86 model Lotus.
Ah, that's true. Now that I think about it. So let's take a look at this battle between Grant and Anders. Not really a battle yet, but Anders has got a bunch of lap cars in front of him he needs to take care of.
Yeah, I was about to point that out.
And the gap is a solid 4 seconds now between Ray and the first place car of Coxon.
Yeah, it hovers around there between corners, but yeah, it's clearly shrinking, but very slowly, and with only 6 laps to go, going to be quite tight.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. On the other hand, it may not be out of the realm of possibility for
A lap's car to interfere.
or for Grant. I was going to say to pick up 3rd. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, 1.5 seconds to Nielsen, and shrinking seems to be quite a more feasible proposition for Grant, especially because of the traffic that Anders is facing in front of him.
Yeah.
When he gets up there, it could very well be that Grant is already with him.
Oh, Grant's out.
Oh no!
Slowing down. He's
Oh,
slowed. His
no!
engine's gone.
Failed engine on Grant's car. Oh goodness, he pulls off into the. He must be very
Oh.
frustrated.
This will promote Michael Drexler into... No, Tim Hiller into a point, sorry.
Yeah.
I'm German.
Yeah, it happened just all of a sudden as he came off the corner. That Judd just gave up. My goodness, I wonder how many more we're going to have engine problems before we're done here. 6 laps to go, but still.
Rai has Coxon already on his sides, but gap is so slow to diminish. You can't see him there.
Yeah, it's not getting any smaller, the gap. It's still 4 seconds, so really it's just a matter, I think, of...
No, 3.5 now.
It's 3.5 now, but yeah, Coxon...
Coxon had a bit on top of it again, so 3.7.
Yeah, I think it shrinks the most here in the quick section when the Williams can stretch his legs.
Yep. These are both V10 powered cars.
A bit further on the field, there's a battle for 7th between Rocha and Drexler.
Oh, look at this. He might have a shot here at the end of the straight. V12 versus V10. Nope, doesn't take the shot here, but he's right with Drexler now. Yeah, look, they're right together now, and Rocha's definitely climbing all over the back of him. Is he going to get him on this corner here? Nope. Oh, there he goes up the inside. Has he got him here? Yes, he does.
Well, Rocha's using that Ferrari as if it was a Land Rover because he's climbing all over the
Ooh.
curves.
Bit of a touch there with Drexler.
More touch and go.
Yeah. So, but Rocha's in 7th. I think his performance in the Ferrari has been quite a surprise so far. He was really, I mean, he got a 5th place finish at the United States Grand Prix, which really he benefited from a lot of attrition. But here, he's putting on a very good performance, 7th here in this race, and it's quite a surprise to me, actually. He might be able to get a point if there's one more calamity that occurs. Drexler wants to counterattack here, but I don't think he can. Well, I don't know. Let me see here. What's going to happen here? Russia takes a defensive line. Oh, contact between the two there. Very briefly, these guys better be careful. Oh my goodness, Drexler all over the place. You think he's fighting a damaged car at this point? I don't know. I can't tell.
The gap at the front still hovering around the 4 seconds.
Yeah, it's not closing fast enough. Coxon's going to have.
Oh, and Anders Nilsson just let John Tim through to unlap himself for an obscure reason.
I don't know. You're just trying to take care of the car at this point, maybe.
Yeah, it looks really to be babying it, but it's...
Yeah, with 17 seconds gap to the next qualified, which is Richard Wilkes.
Yeah.
I don't think he wants to run any risk 3 laps from the end.
No. Or maybe he got his fuel wrong.
Could be.
Maybe.
We'll see. And I think Raya actually also threw the towel because the gap is maybe a bit higher
Drexler is taking Rocha on the outside of turn 1. And Rocha gets a half spin.
God. Let's take a look at a replay of that. Pretty good battle between these two going on right here.
Oh, it was a nice move.
Yeah, Rocha took a defensive line once again, and Drexler goes around the outside, takes the position. Very well done. Oh, and Rocha, yeah, he pushed the car too hard and nearly lost it there, actually. But nicely done. These two aren't finished yet either. I think Rocha has another shot at him, possibly. Hilla in 6th place. This will be a point for the Minardi team, which they'll be very happy about, assuming that the car does not fail on him. Bouchard 5th. He'll be happy to score points for Jordan, as he did not last week, or last time out. Wilkes, 4th, good result for him. This is the first time
both Tyrrells in the points.
Yeah, we have both Jordans in the points and both Tyrrells. Before it was a different car for the top 6 all the way down. Now we've got doubled up points here, so we'll start to see the Constructors' Championship take some shape.
Coxon's extending his lead. It's now 5 seconds.
Yeah, like I said, it seemed that Fry was already going slower.
Yep.
Maybe also, I don't know,
yeah,
fuel
it looks
issues.
backing down, yes.
Remember that the cars don't have boost knobs, but they have fuel maps.
Yep.
The difference is not huge. It's not as if you were using turbo boost, but still there is a difference in fuel use and power in the engine.
Well, Coxon is just about ready to start his last lap. And I think it's fair to say that he's found his sea legs with this Tyrrell Honda combination. And it'll be interesting to see how he's able to do the rest of the season. But I think it's a combination of excellent tire management by Coxon and the fact that he had a better pit stop. Final lap now.
Yeah, Ray's really taking it easy. Oops, and someone spun it from the Wilkes.
Yes. That's Niklas Christen.
Oh.
LaRue's doing pirouettes.
Yes.
I think the gaps are all quite steady.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's going to finish where they are.
Except the one for 7th, where Rocha is kissing Drexler's rear wing.
Oh, goodness, look at this. He's going to try to get him at the end of the straight here. No points involved here, but, man, these two are really going at it.
Well, not yet, and if it could still happen.
Could, potentially. But, man, they are just going at it tooth and nail. Pretty exciting stuff. Too bad it's not for points. But Drexler, really nice performance from him.
Yeah, and Coxon's exiting the final turn. Lapping Francois Remen.
Yep, here comes Coxon, getting ready to take the checkered flag. His first of the year.
Not going to alleviate his misery if he, because if Remen would lift then he would spare himself a whole lap.
And there's the checkered flag. Richard Coxon wins the Brazilian Grand Prix on the strength of a great pit stop and a fantastic drive in that.
Absolutely.
And here is second place, Ray Riddall, coming through now in a great drive from the pole position. Two of them pull alongside each other.
Drexler takes seventh over Roger.
Yep. Here comes Nilsson. Yeah, and he's going to be finishing in third. A great follow-up to his win at the USGP. Crosses the line to take third. And Wilkes, in his first actual drive this year, takes fourth in the other Tyrrell Honda. There he goes, takes fourth place. Fifth place is going to be Bouchard in the other Jordan. And sixth place, if he can make it around here, he will, hopefully, is Tim Hillett driving the Minardi Ferrari. He's just soft pedaling it here on the straight. Doesn't want anything to happen. Takes the checkered flag. Great drive from Tim. And seventh, Drexler. Eighth, Rocha, who's still out on the track. Ninth for DeVos. 10th for Jean Team, who's in the garage. 11th for Kirsten. 12th, Luke Rosell. That's not a bad finishing position for that footwork Porsche. 13th, actually not a bad finish for Fonmental, for Salvatore Surignano. Nice job. Francois Remen, after a very eventful race, he is in 14th. 15th for K.O. McKeels. 16th, Grant Riddall out of the race. And that's where the DNFs begin. Juha, David Saber, Peter Hlavich, Ricardo Mendez, Gabriel Del Piccolo, Oscar Team, Bruno Chacon, Alan Santo, Ruben Fernandez, and 26th and last, Cezarius Slapinski. So that was the Brazilian Grand Prix. And I think we saw a lot of... this is going to be a huge indicator of what we might be seeing this year as far as talent and car combination. What do you guys think?
Yeah, basically the thing that I would say was highlighted the most is how hard it is to overtake with these cars. It's much harder than it was with the 86 ones due to not having the boost settings. We have seen here many instances where quicker cars were coming to the lap ones, and if there was not absolute cooperation, it was even hard to overtake some of them. Mm-hmm. So I think that's at least for me, that's the most important thing that I have seen, because all the other things about tires and reliability and that, they're more or less as we were expecting. Maybe not so much on the Pirellis that were not so fragile as I would expect. But man, this overtaking thing is going to be a theme over the season. Mark my words.
What about you, Juha? What are your thoughts?
Well, yeah, the performance difference is small, so you can't just turn up the knob and say, I want to overtake you. But it is doable. I'd like them to prefer these to drive over the 86, but yeah, you have to find the right opportunity, and that's sometimes it's in the details. It's one better exit, and you have to build up to it to your overtake. You just can't just make it happen.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much to you, Juha, and Alberto for joining me in the booth. Makes things always a lot more interesting. That was the Brazilian Grand Prix. Coming up next at ISO, just reminder, next week we are back touring car racing again at the BBC Top Gear Magazine Race Day. Maybe that will be carried by David as a stream from his car. I don't know, but that's when the race is going to be. Sunday, February 25th, round 3 of 13. First race starts at 2000 hours CET. And then we're back after, I believe, a Lucas Vidor Trophy round. We're back with this series, round 3 of 16, the San Marino Grand Prix, Sunday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. The green light for that is going to be at 2000 CET.
And we have here the race winner.
Richard Coxon, congratulations.
Thank you.
So, from our point of view, it appeared that you had a much superior pit stop to Ray. But but you also had to contend with the Pirellis versus the Goodyears and the fast Williams Renault that Ray had. Tell us about that.
Oh, I have never drove so hard in all my life to try and keep up with him at the beginning. And lost a load of time. You know why. Might be able to jump him in the pit stops with the fresher rubber. But yeah, very unlucky for him in the pit stops because yeah, he had a much longer stop or a bad entry or bad exit or something. I'm not sure, but yeah, it were fun. We weren't together, but we were really racing, and that's why we do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was interesting. So going into Imola, what are your thoughts going into that race? Do you think you'll be able to maintain the momentum?
I'd hope so. The Pirellis should be at less of a disadvantage there. But we'll see. I mean, Ray, if he does that sort of race again, it will be very hard to beat. But yeah, have to look positively and go there with a good frame of mind. It's great to get points on the board.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, fingers crossed we can continue and pick up some more points.
All right, cool. Thanks, Richard, for dropping in, and congratulations on your win. We'll see what happens when we do the next round, March 17th at San Marino. So I guess no one else is in the green room, so we're going to call it a day. Thanks, everybody, for watching. For Alberto and Juha and Richard, this is Jason White saying so long from Sao Paulo, Brazil. We'll see you on March 17th for the resumption of this series in San Marino. Take care and be safe.